Hello students, today we are dealing with class 12th biology, reproduction in flowering plants part 3rd. In this we will deal about pollination. So pollination, it is the transfer of pollen grains which are shed from anther to the stigma of a pistil. So it is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of pistil. We know that anther is the male part which contain pollen grains and pistil is the female part. Flowering plants have evolved many adaptations to achieve pollination. So angiosperms have many adaptations or modifications so that they can undergo pollination. They use external agents to achieve pollination. So they depend on agents in environment like insects, air, water. Kinds of pollination. The first is autogamy. Auto means self. So it is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same flower. So when the pollen grain moves from anther to stigma within the same flower, it does not move to another flower. It requires synchrony in pollen release and stigma receptivity. So the first requirement for autogamy is that there should be synchronization. Synchronization means there should be a proper timing. For example, when the pollens are released, the stigma should also be mature so that their fertilization can take place. Stigma and anther should lie close to each other. The stigma and the anther should be close to each other so that pollen grains do not move to another place. Some examples are viola or common pansy, oxalis, camelina. These produce two types of flowers. So in the same plant we can see two types of flowers. Chasmogamous flowers, they are similar to flowers of other species with exposed anthers and stigma. So these flowers are like normal flowers which open up. Cleistogamous flowers. So cleisto means a fist. They do not open at all. We see like the fist of our hand, it is closed. These flowers never open, they always remain closed. So there is no chance of cross pollination and no need of pollinators. So cleistogamous flowers will always undergo autogamy. Next is geitonogamy. It is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of another flower of same plant. So in this, the pollen is transferred from anther to stigma of another flower of same plant. So here same plant is there, but flower changes. In this we can see A figure, self-pollinated flower. It is closed. B, it is a cross-pollinated flower. It is open. And in the C figure we can see two types of flowers on same plant. Chasmogamous, they can be seen as red petals, they have opened up, while the cleistogamous flowers which are seen in the bottom, they are closed like buds. Here we can see two diagrams. A, chasmogamy, in which the flowers are opened, and cleistogamous, in which the flowers are closed. We cannot see the exposed petals. Geitonogamy is cross-pollination functionally because it involves a pollinating agent. So in geitonogamy, we saw that the pollen is transferred from one flower to another flower. So a pollinating agent is needed. So it functionally looks like cross-pollination, but genetically it is autogamy because the flower is of same parent plant. So there are no variations. Xenogamy, It is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of a different plant. So here the plant changes, but the plant is of same species. For example, if the pollen is transferred from a rose plant, the another plant should also be of rose. It brings genetically different types of pollens to stigma, so it helps in variations. So among the three types we see that the first, autogamy and Gtonogamy, they are self-pollination because they involve the same plant, while xenogamy is cross-pollination because it involves a different plant. Here we can see self-pollination. The pollen is transferred from anther to stigma of same flower or another flower of same plant. And B, cross-pollination, in which the plant changes. Agents of pollination. So pollination is helped by different means. There are two categories. Abiotic means non-living. They are wind. So pollination by wind is called anemophily, and by water it is called hydrophily. It is used less by plants because the chance factor is involved in transfer, because it is only by chance that wind or water will carry the pollen. And biotic agents, they are living animals. For example, insects, it is called entomophily. By bats it is called chiropterophily, and birds it is called ornithophily. Majority of plants use them because there are more chances of transfer. Flowers produce large number of pollen when compared to ovules. So we see that flowers always produce large number of pollen so that transfer can take place easily, and there are more probability of fertilization. Anemophily is the most common method of abiotic agent. So air is the most common. The pollen must be light. So the pollen should be light so they can be carried. Non-sticky. Well exposed stamens. The stamen should be outside the flower so that air can carry them. Large feathery stigma. The stigma should be feathery so that they can trap the pollens from air. A single ovule in each ovary should be present so that enough nutrition is present. Numerous flowers should be packed in inflorescence. So many flowers should be there in a bunch to increase the chance of fertilization. Example is a corn cob. You might have seen the maize plant. In this plant, we see that many hair-like structures are extended. They are stigma and style, which wave in wind to trap the pollen. Anemophily is most common in grasses. So here we can see a plant which is pollinated by air. The stigma is feathery. Hydrophily, it is rare in flowering plants. So in flowering plants, hydrophily is rare. Very less plants, they perform hydrophily, only 30 genera, and they are mostly monocots. Water is a regular mode of transport for male gametes among lower plants. So we know that lower plants, they need water for transport of gametes, like algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. There is one important point, children, that bryophytes and pteridophytes are limited in distribution. We do not see them distributed everywhere because they need water for transport of male gamete and fertilization. So they are limited in area. Example is Vallisneria and Hydrilla. They are freshwater plants which need water for pollination. And there are marine plants also, sea grasses. The name is Zostera. In Vallisneria, female flower is on the surface of water. There is a long stalk and the female flower is on the surface of water. Male flowers release pollen which also reach surface of water and they land on the stigma. In sea grasses, the flower is submerged in water. So because it is submerged, the pollen will be submerged in water when they are released. So they are long, so that they can float, ribbon like, flat, mucilage covering, so that they do not wet. All aquatic plants do not use water for pollination. So it is not compulsory that all aquatic plants use water for fertilization. Water hyacinth and water lily, they come above the level of water and they are pollinated by insects or wind. Most flowers which are pollinated by water, they are not colorful and do not produce any nectar. So they do not need any nectar or color because they are not attracting another organism. Here we can see two diagrams. A diagram is Vallisneria. The female flower, we can see it is going above the surface, and the male flower, it is very small. A current of water is produced and pollen grains reach the stigma. And in the B figure we can see a flower pollinated by insect. Okay, so today we were dealing with only abiotic agents. Thanks.